Oholot Perek Tetvav, Mishnah Yud, 10th and final Mishnah in the 15th chapter. Not of Oholot, in the 15th chapter of Masechet Oholot. Says the Mishnah. We're going to talk about, before we say the Mishnah, we're going to talk about connecting, kind of how a person can connect with his body, or her body, between something that's tameh and kelim, and utensils and vessels. Says if you're standing out in the open, says the Mishnah, hanogea b'met v'hanogea b'kelim. So a person touches the dead body and touches kelim. So the person becomes the connection between the body and the kelim. Or hama'ahil al hamet. A person is ma'ahil, covers over the mate, v'hanogea b'kelim. So he's like standing over the mate and also touching his lawnmower. Tmeim. So then the kelim are tmeim. The Bartenura says that kelim tmeim tumat shiv'ah. They're tamei tumat shiv'ah and ava tuma mitam chiburim, because of this chibur. Chibur means lechaber, to connect. Okay, why? When he was either while he was touching the mate or ma'ahil or tenting over it. No gea kamoken, but kelim, he's touching the kli, the lawnmower, the cell phone, the jug, the whatever. But ma'ahil al hamet uma'ahil al hakelim. Let's say he's on the one hand, he's got his hands over the mate and a hand over the kelim. Okay, so therefore, Ohel on the mate, he's tamei, but he's now ma'ahil on the kli. Or nogea b'mate, he's touching the mate, but ma'ahil al hakelim, he's also using his body to be ma'ahil al hakelim tehorim. Then the kelim are tehorim. Why? Let's see in a second. Im yesh biyado poteach tefach, but if his hand is a poteach tefach, so I guess he has normal size hands. They always say a tefach is like the size of the fist, but I guess it depends on like your fist. They knew what a fist was. They knew how big it was. So if his hand is poteach tefach, because I guess here your wrist is definitely not a poteach tefach. The wrist is not. So let's say if your wrist is over the thing, only your wrist part, then not. But if your hand is over it and he puts his hand like that, poteach tefach, then they are tmeim. Okay, why? Like anything else, since his hands are ma'ahil, they're covering over the dead and the kelim, they can transfer tuma. Like anything, so it has to be the size of a poteach tefach. So if your hands are poteach tefach, then they can be mevi tuma. You know, you got one hand on one side over the dead and one hand over the keli, then they're tmeim. Similarly, shnei batim ubehem kishnei chatzei zeitim. There are two houses. They're close to each other, very, very close. You know, very tiny, narrow alleyway between them. And pashat et shtei yadav lahem. Person spreads his two hands out into them. Okay, and each house has two half zeitim. Im yesh biyadav poteach tefach. If his hands are poteach tefach, if they have the width, then maybe a tatuma. Then he is like the korei. If you put a beam between those two houses, that's a tefach wide. Right, then the beam would be an ohel to transfer tuma from both houses, and each one has a half zait. Each one has a half zayit. So together it's one house, and they're tamei. So his hands are the same way. And if his hands are poteach tafach, then ohel shel yadav mitzarev tuma. The ohel of his hands, okay, combines the tuma. Ki'ilu shnei chatzaim munachim bazeh ubazeh, as if each two half zaitim are together. So that's if his hands are poteach tafach. Then it's meviyat tuma, transfers the tuma, and both houses are tamei. And if not, it can't transfer the tamtuma, and two of the houses are tehorim. Interesting, the Bartenura says, Gavra miya tameh. The guy himself is tameh, as we're going to see. He's a likaman, al atzman b'chol shem. So he says, the person himself is tameh, but the houses remain tahor. Stop here and dedicate our learning to my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Make it a great day.